Thank you, Madam Chairman. And as you mentioned, Senator Cantwell's running a few minutes late and asked me to fill in until she arrives. As a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, I am acutely aware of the sophisticated threats that our energy infrastructure faces in cyberspace today. Cybersecurity is one of the most serious economic and national security challenges that we face as a nation state. The future of warfare is moving further away from the battlefield each day and closer to the devices and the networks that everyday citizens as well as the private sector rely on and depend on. Protecting our nation from malicious cyber actors requires a very comprehensive approach, and keeping our energy infrastructure secure is absolutely central to that. In January, the U.S. Department of Energy warned that the U.S. grid, quote, faces imminent danger, unquote, from cyber attacks. The department's quadrennial energy review warns that a widespread power outage caused by a cyber attack could place at risk the health and safety of millions of U.S. citizens. The QER included a number of policy recommendations for both regulators and Congress. The QER also pointed out that our electric grid has become increasingly reliant on a reliable and secure supply of natural gas, and it's essential to what we do that we do all we can to protect against cyber attacks against natural gas pipelines as well. So I'm pleased today that Congressman McCurdy will be testifying today on behalf of the American Gas Association to discuss pipeline cybersecurity as well. Top officials within the intelligence community have testified that energy infrastructure is an enticing target to malicious actors. Those officials have also warned that without action, the U.S. remains vulnerable to cyber attacks that could result in catastrophic damage to public health and safety, economic security, and national security. I am pleased again to be an original co-sponsor of Senator King's bipartisan Securing Energy Infrastructure Act, which was the subject of last week's subcommittee hearing, and I hope we can take action on this bill this year. We are also today going to hear from Pat Hoffman, the Acting Assistant Secretary for the Office of Electricity Delivery and Energy Reliability. This office, in coordination with our national labs, helps protect our nation's energy infrastructure from a variety of cyber threats. I am very concerned that the President is proposing significant cuts to the Electricity Office's budget that could impair our ability to meet the challenges foreign actors and others present to the security of our nation's energy infrastructure. Thank you for holding this full committee hearing today, and I look forward to all of our witnesses' testimony. Congressman McCurdy, and also Colonel Welsh, I thought maybe you could start, Congressman, to speak just a moment about how this bottleneck in security clearances actually directly impacts your ability to manage risk and the timelines. And then, Colonel Welsh, you mentioned that you might have some thoughts on how we can speed this up. And so if the two of you can speak to that sort of together, I think that would be very helpful for all of us. Congressman McCurdy.
Sure, Senator. And everyone around here knows it's just Dave. So the effective policy starts at the top. And one of the improvements, I think, over the last few years and a couple decades I've been dealing with is having the C-suite, the CEOs, the senior executives in corporations focused on this issue of cybersecurity. It's not just a CIO issue. There weren't even CIOs when we started this process. So it's critical that you have that. And so information sharing, and so groups like the SCC, our groups, our safety committee within AGA, and by the way, every investor-owned utility in the natural gas sector is a member of AGA. They've signed a commitment to security, which is a call to action. They are into developing the expertise within their companies and working with government and cross-sector to improve our overall security. And by the way, many of them, over half now, are both electric and gas combination companies. So what we find is critical is that when we have CEOs being able to sit across the table with each other and with government on a regular basis, but then also in emergencies or in threat situations to be able to receive information. Now, we don't need to know sources and methods, the old terms we used to use. What we do need to know, though, whether it's actionable and directly relevant for our particular environment and situation. So it is a bit frustrating when we can't, and I know a number of the CEOs on the electric side, because they've been working it a little bit longer through a formal process, had clearances. I was a gang of 8. I've had all kinds of different clearances in DOD. I currently have a DOD clearance. But if it's at a secret level, that really doesn't help when we're talking Ukraine or some of those other issues that are timely when they came up. So it's more of a backlog. I'm not in control of that. We do the reviews. I applied. The department is actually trying with officials, executives, to move a process, but it's the clearance process across government, which is kind of fouled up there. So I hate for it to be a personal example, but it's one that we have seen.
I think it actually helps for it to be a personal example because you're kind of an unusual example. And if it's this tough for you, you can imagine how tough it is for lots of people in the utility industry broadly on both the electric and the gas side.
Absolutely.
Colonel Welch, do you want to talk about some of the
Yes, sir.
advances you've been able to make in Washington State?
So you can't have a partnership without access and sharing. Information sharing without our partners at the table is tough. So we view from the National Guard's perspective, and really in Washington State, I'll give you the Washington State case study. So every state governor has a Homeland Security advisor. That Homeland Security advisor has the authority in that position to sponsor folks in that state for clearances. So we have the luxury of our Homeland Security advisor being our TAG and our emergency management authority, so it sort of makes it easy. It's all in the same family. But the fact that he is able to do that is a tremendous trust builder for our partners out there. Nothing makes more trust built. You can't build it without, hey, we'll put you in for a clearance. Here's the stuff to sign. Sorry, you'll probably get somebody asking your neighbors, how you do. But it's tremendous for us. But it starts at that Homeland Security advisor level, and. But again, we sort of wait for, again, federal policy to sort of catch up with that. I think on the DHS side, what we would like to see is it's fairly easy to get a security clearance at the secret level. It's that TS level that takes a bit more of a nudge, and that's really the only thing that matters. Secret is great, as everybody knows, but it's at that TS level. You don't need to know the sources and methods, but there are some things going on out there that are of interest with our sectors.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your input on that.